So game tomorrow against Senegal. Hopefully this is out by the time that game is played. Yeah, Ryan, how are you feeling about it? Easy game?
I'm so confident for this round of 16. I think it's actually going to be quite... I am thinking of this game very similar to Sweden in 2018. Do you remember that 2-0 knockout?
Yeah,
I just think it's going to be crucial. It's not going to be a fun game to watch at all. I think it'll be 1-0 both halves. Yeah. Maybe like just a set piece goal here and that. I think it was Dele Alli and Stones or Maguire in 2018. Yeah, I think it was that. I think it'll be very similar to that. Maybe Kane or like a penalty or something like that. I don't think it'll be playing them off the park or anything like that, but I just think it'll be professional, 2-0 win, get through, and then France in the quarters.
Yeah, okay. Senegal, though, AFCON winners, and have looked good in the group so far. Was unlucky a bit against Netherlands.
100%. No Mane, which has killed them, but they've obviously got through, so they are rallying. But
I watched a bit of Senegal. I watched most of the games in the group, but they were one of them teams where like I was watching the game, but my mind drifted off doing other things as well. But I went back and watched a few clips before the pod because I knew we'd be talking about England. And they look... I don't think it'll worry us too much because I don't think they've got the players. Obviously, Idrissa Gueye as well, who we all know from England, is suspended for the game. So I don't think it will be too much of an issue for us. I agree with Ryan. I think it will be fairly comfortable. But I think there'll be a couple shaky moments if we don't get an early goal. They're quite compact, but they do press relatively high. So in midfield we might have a couple of issues with that, but I don't think they have the players to harm us that much, especially without Mane. I think if they had Mane, I'd probably fancy them a little bit more, but I just don't see where the goals come from for them.
Yeah, but where you think the goals are come from England?
From England?
Kane's not scoring at the moment. I'm a bit worried about Kane, to be honest. I know he's getting assists, but Kane at his best is in the box, crashing headers, getting those little tap-ins or whatever. The dropping deep thing for me, like it's not clean. He's coming deep and the game is so slow.
Yeah, I hear it.
I think if Saka's going to play, and Sterling's going to play, Saka's a guy who wants the ball to feet. You need someone who's going to get in behind, man, and stretch the play. I don't know. Kane just don't look sharp at the moment, man.
Would you start Wilson or would you start Kane then?
Or Rashford the striker.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind Kane drop. No, I wouldn't mind, and I'll probably. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I just couldn't do it. If you know what I mean. Even if it made a footballing sense, I feel like I'm probably speaking for Southgate, where he goes, I cannot do that because if we lose that game, it's your job. It's your job basically gone.
A lot of countries will have this issue. It's probably the same with Portugal and Ronaldo, and it's probably the same with. I know Messi's been good this tournament, but it's probably the same in that respect as well. Like even if he was having a bad game, even if Ronaldo's having a bad game, you don't take these guys off the pitch because all it takes is that 5-10 seconds.
Moment.
But why? Okay, you mentioned Portugal, Ronaldo. How come he can come off for club? Everyone's fine with that, but for national team, it's different.
I'm not saying he can't come off, and I'm not saying Kane can't come off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
starting.
I don't think the manager will feel comfortable with taking these guys off because just say a hypothetical scenario, right? I know this is if buts and maybes, but just say there's a chance where Rashford goes through. We don't have a good game. It's 0-0. Rashford goes through 1-1, misses a chance, or Wilson goes through 1-1, misses a chance. Everyone's saying, where's Kane? Kane would have scored that.
Yeah, similar to Rashford against Wales. Like his first chance, it's like. You're trusting Kane to bag that every time, and also like even if it is like a terrible game, like Louis saying, not many chances, but we get a penalty.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I don't think people are going to put Rashford on it just because of the whole of
Saka
Euros, and Saka ain't going to take it. Sterling ain't.
Saka's been taking pens, I think.
Yeah, he hasn't missed since, but it is that it's now England knockouts. Oh my god, the pressure on it. I would never dare to put him back on it.
I wouldn't.
It just wouldn't go well.
Maguire maybe.
Maguire. I was screaming when he was stepping up. I said no.
Smashed one against Villarreal as well for United.
Yeah. He's probably a decent mate. He just does it. He just hits it. Lives with the result. But Kane in a situation like a penalty or something like that, just get Kane on it and just.
With Kane, it's like I wouldn't drop him probably only because the reserve isn't
Tony.
It should be Tony.
Yeah, Ryan's a Peterborough fan, by the way, guys.
Yeah, so I'm up the posh.
Yeah, so he loves Tony. like the reserve isn't great. Whereas like if you want to drop Kyle Walker, the reserve's good. You've got you've got Trent.
I like Callum Wilson.
I don't even love Callum Wilson, to be fair. It's just
I like Callum Wilson,
but
also as well, right? And I know this is like such a cliche that people like Rio Ferdinand and stuff like that say, but if I was a defender and I was playing against, if I had the choice between playing against Kane and Wilson, with especially these guys aren't going to know a lot about either of them as well. International, I'm picking to play against Wilson.
Okay, I'm going to remember what you said about if you're a defender for another position.
I get that.
The fear factor as well. It's like Harry Kane's got that name, that brand of being one of the best strikers in the world. If you've got France coming up against Cam Wilson, they're like, who is this? Who are we coming up against? There'll be a confidence from the France defenders from kickoff.
Yeah.
Nah, Kane's got the aura, man. But it's like, this is 4 tournaments I've watched Kane now, and he's been quite ineffective in all 4 tournaments. I know he got the Golden Boot in the World Cup last time, but for me, he wasn't great.
Yeah.
Euros, he wasn't great until the Ukraine game. I'll say that's the only good game he had. Sterling kind of carried him. And it's just like...
But he had those moments, though. In the Euros, he had the moment against Germany. Yeah,
unreal.
But it's like, what's to say Wilson can't have that moment?
No, you're right.
Because he's not. It's not like he's. It's not like a moment where he's doing something where it's like, wow, like Messi against
Iran. Who's more likely to have the moment?
I mean, I don't know at this point because it's 4 tournaments now.
He's captain.
He's captain. If you continue this mentality forever, it's just like he's just going to keep stinking up tournaments.
I don't think it's a case of forever, right? I think dropping your captain in the middle of a tournament when we haven't lost a game.
No, man.
We've scored the most goals. We ain't lost a game, but it is insane. He hasn't scored. We scored 9 games.
You may as well play him Cam. You may as well play him.
And you've seen the circus that Ronaldo's had at United. When United haven't won, or United have won and he's not played, you've seen the whole discourse around that.
But you've seen the points go up. You've seen United; they've got more points.
You have, but it's made the whole environment more so last year than this year. It's made the whole environment very toxic and very. There's a story outside of the result.
Yeah, that's because Ronaldo's toxic himself. He's leaving games early. He's like slagging players off. Kane's not going to do that.
Kane's not going to do that.
It's not the same with Kane and Ronaldo because. I'm not going to say Kane's useless when he's on the pitch. Like he's still getting 3 assists. Ronaldo, in all honesty, is quite useless when he's not scoring these days. To be honest,
true.
So I don't know, man. I just think I watch him and I'm just like, bro, you're so ineffective.
I think the thing is with Kane as well. Yeah, he's one of them players where when just say for instance like Rashford's having a really bad game or like Sterling's having a really bad game, at least they'll have pace, so they'll be useful. You can get the ball in behind. Whereas with Kane, he doesn't press, for one. He's one of the worst pressers in the Prem and one of the worst pressers for England. He's very slow and he's very, very clunky as well. So he's not nice to watch when he's not playing well. When he's playing well, he's a joy to watch. When he's not playing 100%. well, it makes him look so much worse than he actually is as well. Whereas if that was someone like, I don't know, Wilson, who had made a mistake... Like Wilson's dropped deep and got on the ball and he's been tackled. It's not going to look. It's not going to look as bad because he's maybe a bit more slick with it. Whereas Kane's kind of is slow, doesn't press as well. So it looks really bad when he's not playing.
But I also do feel like say you chuck Wilson in. If like when Kane like makes a mistake here and there, it's still. Well, that's Harry Kane. You can't turn your back. I feel like if Wilson to that position and started the game poorly 20 minutes in, it's just going to be awful for him.
Nah,
from the fans. Like the fans can get behind players, but if they see him, we got Harry Kane on the bench and Wilson stinking up the gaff 20 minutes in, missing a chance or something. It ain't going to go down well, and then that is just going to absolutely knock his confidence and ruin his confidence. If we do need him as like a super sub in the later stages of the tournament,
those are things to think of. But like, I just think. The only reasons...
Footballing wise, it's not a bad shout.
Yeah, I understand what you think.
That's the thing, footballing wise. The only reasons I'm hearing not to drop him are non-footballing reasons. It's all reasons to protect... But like Kane, we'll say, what if Kane gets the moment?
I think it's the team. I think it's just the aura of the team.
But Kane's not a toxic player, so I don't think he'll necessarily mind.
He's not a toxic player, but he's never been in the situation where he's had to be toxic.
Yeah, and when he did, he pretty much he done that interview with Gary Neville.
Yeah,
and practically said, "I need out," and then backtracked completely. But I also saw the Callum Wilson interview, and it's not like Callum Wilson's come to this tournament thinking, oh yeah, I could start one of these games. He knows his plays. He knows he's going to get 20, 30 minutes here and there. But I think he respects the fact Harry Kane's the captain. He is going to be our top goal scorer. I think you just got to let him run it. He doesn't look that sharp, and he's obviously carrying maybe a minor injury or something like that.
He looks tired.
He does look tired.
If he's carrying a minor, that's the thing, because I know a sharp, fully fit Kane's probably going to be doing better than he's doing now. If he's carrying a minor injury, it's like, it's a World Cup gone, man. You don't get World Cups every year, man.
This is. I pose you a question, right? Would you rather 80% fit Harry Kane or 100% fit Callum Wilson?
Kane. Yeah.
Maybe a Callum Wilson. Maybe a Callum Wilson at this rate for England, because I just don't know how well Kane's style even meshes with England, to be honest, man. Like, okay, he gets the assist, but like, there's no real outlet. He's not doing his thing in the box like he does with Spurs.
Do you not think he's like his manager? Do you not think he's earned the right for this tournament? Like, there's the discourse around Southgate as well.
But that's the thing. I mentioned it's 4 tournaments now. I think he's been fairly average in Euro 16, well, till now. So it's like, okay, I'd say he earned it last Euros. But for me now, and again, look, he's got 3 assists, good assists. He played a nice ball to Rashford just before Rashford scored in the first half. He's doing a few things. I just think, like, it's good. It just can be better, man.
Do you think as well, just playing devil's advocate, I'm not sure whether I truly believe this or not. Do you think, because I know he drops deep for Spurs as well, but do you think he maybe drops deeper for England because the midfield's not creative enough itself?
Yeah, no, that's true. And again, another player who has kind of got the Kane treatment, in my opinion, and is less worthy of the Kane treatment because he's not as good as Kane, is Mason Mount. You know, like, what does this guy do for England, man? Like, he had a decent game against Iran first game, but it's
good first half against Iran.
Good first half.
Second half,
yeah, good first half
against
Iran, but second half,
bro,
he didn't really.
Even the good first half, man. It's just like, I just feel like if Foden's on the pitch there, if Maddison's on the pitch there, it's just going to be a whole lot better. It's going to be a whole lot better, man. Like,
that was posed to me by Doge because I'm quite a bit of an avid Mason Mount fan. When I watched that game against, it was USA, weren't it?
Yeah.
It was the absolute worst, in my opinion, worst game of Mason Mount I've ever watched. I thought it was absolutely
glaringly poor,
terrible. Yeah, it was up there with like your Henderson versus Croatia. Yeah. It was just diabolical.
Anything can ever be that bad.
Yeah, and it was so poor. But then I looked at and I was like hoping he'd like turn it around, because then that England-Wales game, I thought Rashford should have been the first one to come off in that first half. I just didn't think he was doing very well at all, and then he completely turned it around. But with Mason Mount in that USA game, it just got worse and worse and worse. But yeah, I'd agree. I don't think I put him in my lineup going into the tournament. I don't think he's in a great run of form, but
I think he's a good player, man. He's had good games.
I think he is. He's a great player who has moments. I think he is very, very hit and miss more than consistent, which he used to be that consistent 7 out of 10
all the time
baller, and now it's more in a moment, maybe like a Champions League game, he might get an assist or on a goal, and then 2-3 weeks later you got to wait for that next moment, but nothing in between.
I think it's very telling as well, when I know it's a cliche, but he was Tuchel's go-to guy, he was Lampard's go-to guy, he's Southgate's go-to guy. I don't think you can't be a bad footballer if there's 3 managers who are all very different, who have all liked you, and maybe it's because he's a good lad, he's good for the team, he works hard, he's honest,
trains hard,
he's a team player and stuff like that. But there's other players who do that as well and don't get the same treatment that he gets. So there's obviously something there that coaches really like, and I get it. I think he's a good player. I think tactically as well he's useful, but I just think in this England setup, when we've got creative players on the bench like Foden, like Grealish, who, especially in international football, are going to have that spark. I can understand over a 38 game season why you might prefer Mount to someone like that. But in a one-off game, especially a knockout game, Foden and Grealish are going to have that X factor that's going to pull you through games.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas I don't think Mount has that X factor.
I do think it is the training thing you said that the managers might see. So I was watching, that Lions Den thing they're doing behind the scenes at the moment, and they was asking, they done a little would you rather with Sterling and Walker, and they both said Mason Mount had one of the best trainer sessions they've ever seen, and he must work so hard in those training sessions for these managers to absolutely love him and think they can count on him to give 110%. Maybe he's not on the ball that game, but he's going to give you 110%.
I think as well, he's not a player who's that bad where he's going to cost you. He's not going to make a mistake and have a back pass that's going to concede you a goal. He might be sloppy over the 90 minutes and maybe not do a lot, but he's not someone who's going to come in and cost you a game and lose you a game. But he's probably not someone who's going to win you a game as well.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. And at the end of the day, tournament football, you don't get rewarded for draws in knockout stages.
It's weighing up the risk of different things. Whereas I feel like someone like Grealish is more likely to lose the ball on the halfway line.
Yeah. I wouldn't have Grealish starting in my
Even
team.
Foden or Rashford or Sterling's more likely to lose the ball on the halfway line as well.
Well, Rashford's...
I think with Southgate as well, I think there's a personal grievance there. I don't think he dislikes Maddison, and I think this is the same thing for Foden as well. I'll explain the thinking behind this as well. Obviously, Foden had the whole situation in Iceland with Greenwood, so I think that ticked Southgate off.
Forgot that.
And then Maddison as well. Southgate called him up to a squad, and then he came out of the squad injured, and he went out clubbing the same night, and he was all over the papers.
Yeah.
So maybe there's the grievance there with Southgate that Southgate doesn't like his attitude. Maybe it's the same with Foden. It could explain why he wasn't picking Greenwood when Greenwood was on fire before his case happened as well. Southgate strikes me as the type of guy who
likes your Mason Mount, just by the book, do what you're told
honest
to
lads,
do.
Good honest lads.
No, if you're a coach, you always want honest pros in your team. It's just easier to coach. You don't want someone let's say, Harry Redknapp's had problems with Tarap in the past. Those players were supremely talented. But
sometimes you've got to deal with it though. If they've got the talent and they are exactly what you're missing, just put up with the guy who missed training session, went clubbing. Oh no, but he is our best 10. So how about we just play him in a tournament?
He's not going clubbing now, is he?
And
it's just then, so you can't hold into it.
He's a young guy. We've all probably gone clubbing at times we shouldn't have gone clubbing, or we've gone for nights out at times. We've spoke to a girl we shouldn't have spoke to, stuff like that. We've all done things like that at the age he was at when he did that. So, and Southgate would have done things when he was younger that he probably regretted as well. But I think that's probably the reason, because he took so long to call Grealish up as well, and obviously Grealish had that reputation as well.
Yeah, I also think it comes into it. I feel like he hates when the public get on him a little bit. When the public call on for players start Grealish, and it's I'm gonna don't. Almost
I'm the manager.
What to do?
I'm the manager,
so I'm going to wait, and then Grealish got it, and then same with Foden. Where is Foden? Foden got it. I feel like it's the same with Maddison now.
Yeah, go on.
I feel like Southgate, as good as he is in terms of public discourse and social issues and stuff like that, I feel like sometimes he makes his own bed and lays in it sometimes, because I remember he said about Grealish, where he was saying about he needs more goals and assists. And then obviously Grealish was scoring and he still didn't call him up. He obviously said the other day about Foden doesn't play number 10 for his club and stuff like that. But Kyle Walker never played centre-back for his club, and he played Kyle Walker as a centre-back. So I feel like sometimes he gets asked a question, and rather than giving an honest answer, he'll panic on the spot and think of something that makes himself sound like it's justifiable.
Yeah.
I would, in a way, I'd rather him come out and just say, I'm the manager, I make the decisions.
I agree, because otherwise you're just going against... He's going against, for me, managers that are better than him. He's going against Pep Guardiola, not playing Foden. And he's going against Brendan Rodgers. Both are better managers than Southgate.
Yeah.
They have them in their teams and they're successful for them. So I don't know. It's treatment of Maddison, baffling. The Grealish one isn't as baffling for me, because Grealish is a left winger.
And we've got good players in that
position. And I do think he's a super sub when he comes on. He's so different that defenders are like, I've got to change my whole game plan now. So
he relieves pressure as well. He wins free kicks and stuff like that. So he's good off the bench against tired legs.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, what are we having for our 11 then? I think keeper, Pickford. He's going to be in goal.
Yeah, he'll be in goal. I don't think he deserves Maybe after the tournament we can track Ramsdale in, but right now Pickford hasn't done anything to deserve to be dropped.
Would you guys stick with Kyle Walker? Would you bring Trippier back?
I'd go Kyle Walker. I haven't been too impressed with Trippier when he actually started. I think he hasn't like cost us in any way at all, but he just hasn't been that guy that is the guy for Newcastle, the captain for Newcastle. He hasn't been that standout player, so I would go with Walker.
Yeah. I think Trippier has different responsibility for England than what he does at Newcastle. I think at Newcastle he's one of the main guys, whereas at England he's a bit of like a side piece. So maybe he's got a bit more of a withdrawn role. But I agree. I mean, if you're going to have someone to play that role where they're not going to be involved much, play Walker, because he's got that pace where if something does get sticky, he can make the recovery run. And the experience as well in big games. I know Trippier has it, but Walker has won league titles for Man City, played in Champions League finals, played in Euro finals, World Cup semi-finals. So he's got that experience of doing that. So
I'm not mad at Walker. I do think I kind of would rather Trent there, to be honest, a bit more creative.
Yeah, but do you think as well, playing Walker in this game, getting 90 minutes under his belt, and then the potential of having France, obviously the Mbappe challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Trent's played Mbappe before, and he wasn't too bad. So
I don't trust Trent against Mbappe.
Yeah, no chance. Okay. I just can't. I can't do. I think if there was a game to play Trent, I would agree it's Senegal
or Wales.
Yeah, it should have been Wales, where there isn't that much of a threat really. But now we're in the knockouts. If you do play Trent against Senegal, and he does well, then it's like, well, are you going to play him against France? And if you do play him against, I just think he'll get.
I'll be honest, man. The England discourse is so frustrating at times because we just focus on like the limitations of a team rather than the strength.
No,
of
I
the
love
team.
Trent. Trent's amazing. Trent's great.
And it's just like, again, with Kyle Walker, how effective actually is this guy? Everyone talks about his recovery runs. I don't really see it as much as everyone says.
Do you want me to give you the prime example of that, right? Sorry to interject there. Do you remember when Man City played Real Madrid? You know when he went off, that's when they lost the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when they lost the game.
Yeah,
they were stinky from that point after he went off. Vinicius Junior
It's
was
also just a terrible decision to take him off in that.
He was injured. He was injured. He came off injured against Madrid for Man City.
Yes.
He went off injured. After that point, that's when they lost the game. They were in control of that game. Vinny was making runs and Walker was dealing with him fine.
Fast.
He was still causing Walker some problems.
So fast.
I'm pretty sure they brought Fernandinho on at right back.
Oh, they won that game. They won that game 4-3. And then the next game, he didn't play at all, and they lost 3-1. They went up, though, at 80 minutes. I don't think that's down to Walker. It's easy to point at that and be like, okay.
I remember watching that game.
Do you think Trent could do a good showing out against Mbappe, especially with Mbappe's form in this World Cup?
Look, I think Mbappe could rip Kyle Walker as well. That's
I'm not saying he can't.
I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'm saying Trent, who hasn't played.
Yeah.
Do you think his first game, if he does play against Senegal, then that'd be 90 minutes, obviously.
Yeah.
But do you think just 90 minutes against Senegal, who haven't really got a threat, do you want them chuck him against
Mbappe? Look, I'm not going to lie. Any player against Mbappe is frightening.
Yeah,
and then Trent against Mbappe.
Apart from Axel Tu and Zabi.
Exactly. If you're looking...
But he's blowers as well, though.
If the basis is stop Mbappe, just take flipping Wan-Bissaka to the World Cup, man.
No, you're right. That's a good... I agree.
But obviously, you got to think about your strengths going forward. Trent going forward is way better than Kyle Walker going forward. Trippier's off the ball at the moment. I don't know.
You say
and
about...
he never gets games for England as well.
You say about...
don't know how good he is.
You're right. But you say about our strengths as well. Is it not part of football to also nullify the opponent's strengths?
Definitely. But it's about obviously getting the balance. If you're going to think about... our strengths and weaknesses, but there's so many weaknesses Harry Maguire's got, so many weaknesses John Stone's got.
I do think our actual biggest strength in English football at the moment is just being hard to beat. Like, we've lost literally one game in 90 minutes, and that was the game we threw away against Belgium in 2018 under Southgate. One game in 90 minutes in tournament football. That is our biggest strength, not getting beat easily. And I think being so defensive as we have been in the past, and then obviously he's playing the 4 at this tournament as well, I think he will definitely just go with Walker. I just think he trusts it. I think with the questions of Trent, it does take away from our strength, in my opinion.
Listen, I love Trent, right? And I don't like a lot of Liverpool players, but I love Trent. I think he's a phenomenon in this country. I think he's revolutionised that position to a level where we probably won't see a position revolutionised like that again in this country. I think he's a great player. He's great technically. He's a great crosser. He offers so much. But I think he would probably admit himself defensively is one of the weakest parts of his game. And that's not against just Mbappe. That's against someone like a Wilfried Zaha. That's against Rashford's torn him apart.
Yeah.
That's against guys who aren't anywhere as near as maybe Rashford talent-wise is, but guys who aren't that level of Mbappe have torn him apart. Have you ever seen a game from Kyle Walker where he's genuinely been run around ragged?
Funnily enough, I think England played France about 5 years ago, lost 3-2. I think Dembele was having fun with Kyle Walker that game.
5 years ago. That's 5 years ago, though. Trent. It happened to Trent last month.
The thing is, right? Okay,
happened to Trent once a month.
Kyle Walker plays for Man City, right? And
he plays very high up the pitch.
I don't want to do this thing of City players just get protection, but you're less likely to get ripped playing for Man City than any other team.
Why?
But let me finish my point.
Okay.
Ruben Dias, right? How many times have we heard people say, "Oh, look at when he goes for Portugal, he's nowhere near as good." Man City, he never gets ripped, so it's like.
He doesn't.
Like, it's like you can mention the thing. Oh, that was 5 years ago. But he's been playing for the best team one of the best teams in the world. I've
seen games of Diaz at City where he's been sus.
Okay, forget.
Martial made a couple of years ago made Diaz look like his bitch.
Okay, how many games have we seen Kyle Walker make the difference going forward? Not many.
No, not going forward. We haven't.
I can name how many games Trent's.
But there are so many
games.
There are so many examples of Kyle Walker getting them out of the mud with just his pace and tracking back.
Again, it's easy to paint narratives in football. Kyle Walker's got a pace. Oh, okay, so he's a great recovery defender.
In an essence, he won them the Premier League and stopped Liverpool winning it with his pace when he made that goal line clearance.
Okay. So because he made the goal line clearance, that's going to happen
again.
Would you say he's not a good defensive right back?
What, Trent?
Do you think Walker is a good defensive right back?
I think he's an overrated defensive right back. Really? I think we make out like he's.
I think he's the best one we have.
I think Reece James is actually the best, in my opinion. So I think he's a mix of both. I think he's like not as good defensively as Walker, not as good attackably as Trent, but he has both. So I think he is just the middleman for them.
Reece James a baller, and at least going forward,
he can do something.
He can do something. But again, I've seen Kieran Tierney rip apart Reece James.
No, I agree.
But it's like I feel like when Trent gets ripped, because he plays for Liverpool, and we all love to banter Liverpool fans, and Trent gets a lot of praise. So what we need to do with a Liverpool player like Salah, whatever, when they get praise, we need to bring them back down. Is we need to bombard Trent with hate. And
but I'm not hating on Trent though.
Yeah, I just think the narratives are so overstated with Trent.
Is it a narrative or is it just genuinely watching a player and trusting what your eyes see? Because you've admitted as well, he's not the greatest right back defensively. He's not. No. Yeah, let's be honest, he's not. He's amazing going forward. And at Liverpool, when they were at their best, they played very high up the pitch. They pressed very, very high. He didn't have a lot of times where he was running back towards his own goal. And he also didn't have a lot where players were running at him when Liverpool were at their very, very best.
So what, you're saying he didn't really get tested defensively that much?
Klopp played a system where Liverpool were very, very compact in the middle of the pitch, but pressed very, very high. So when it came to them losing the ball, they won it back in 10 or 15 seconds. So Klopp made a system that Southgate's never going to have the ability to create. I don't think we have the maybe we have the players to create that sort of system anyway, but I don't think we've got the manager and also the squad right now. Maybe if we get a different manager in and change the way the squad is, I don't think we have to get the best out of Trent. I think it's actually bad for Trent's England career if he comes into this team now against an Mbappe. Just say Mbappe has a worldie, Trent has a shocker, scores 2 or 3. That's not good for Trent's England career.
He's pretty much done at that point. As well. You have got Reece James come out, you have got Kyle Walker.
And that's what's frustrating because Mbappe is the best player in the world, so he could do that to Walker as well. But obviously, Walker won't get that
I don't think he will do that to Walker, though. I can see him doing that to Trent. I don't think he will do that to Walker.
I don't know. I think the narratives are so... It's just the betas narratives, man.
We're going through the 11. We are stuck on the second player.
But this is a big talking point.
It is like one of the
Walker's
biggest.
Right, but what I'll say is 2 things. First things is I reckon if Trent played for any other nation, right, and we were looking at him, we'd be like, fucking hell, how's he not starting? Like, probably. This guy is... We watch him in Champions League and he's doing this. How's he not starting? But obviously,
But I would be thinking Rashford's going to absolutely razz him all game as well. The same point.
Everyone talks about Rashford's ripped him up. Rashford's whipped Trent up once.
Three times. Three times.
I know twice.
He done it
recently.
Anfield a couple of years ago. Mourinho ripped him apart.
I swear Liverpool won that game at 3-1.
No, they didn't.
Didn't he do it recently? Didn't you? He did Liverpool and he razzed him then.
No, he didn't. No, but he didn't. He scored a goal. But he didn't rip up.
He played more centrally.
Trent.
He played more centrally. In fact, Sancho actually kind of twisted him up a couple times. No, Elanga actually. It was Elanga.
Oh my days.
It was Elanga who twisted him up actually.
Nah, because Trent's come out and said Rashford's the hardest winger I've played against in the world. And now everyone's like, Rashford, oh, he's ripped him up.
In fact,
I don't know. I watch a lot of Liverpool. And
so do I.
I watch a lot of Chelsea. I watch bare football, man. I see Reece James get ripped up, bro. I don't see Cole get ripped up as much. You're right, but I don't really see what he does so much going forward. And my second thing is when England play these games, right, and we're complaining, it stinks. There's a reason why the game flipping stinks, bro. Because you got players that ain't really progressive, bro. Like Kyle Walker, nowhere near as progressive as a Trent.
But you have. Sorry, no. You have you're watching the Liverpool and Chelsea games. Like even the start of this season, his positioning was just absolutely diabolical, and losing his man in the box, it was so shocking to watch.
Palace
it was week in, week out at some point, and it was just so bad.
It was, but it's like Kyle Walker's not even really played this season, so we don't really know.
You made the point about Trent. If he played for any other national team, I think it's the same with Reece James. I think it's the same with Kyle Walker. I think it's the same as Foden. I think it's the same as Rashford. I think we have a lot.
We do want these players in. We want Foden in.
We have a lot of these players who you probably think, he should be starting, but not every. You can't play 20 men on the pitch.
I'm
not saying you can. I'm just saying.
I said just play Trent right back because he's the best on the ball at right back, and he's going to progress our play. That's what I'm saying. But we'll go Walker. We'll go Walker. Centre mid.
Centre back.
Centre backs.
Maguire.
We don't
really.
Maguire.
Stones and Shaw.
Luke Shaw.
We ain't got too much time.
Yeah.
To just do the main talking points.
Centre mid. What are you guys going with?
Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount, and I'm
gonna go Rice and Henderson.
Rice and Henderson.
I'm gonna go that, and like it's laughable about Henderson as well. He's another one of them guys, right? Who you go on Twitter and people are like, why is Henderson starting? I think one, he might not be the greatest player himself, but he makes other people better by demanding and setting standards. Two, we don't really have anyone else in that position. Phillips clearly isn't fit.
Yeah.
So he solidifies that midfield. Bellingham's not a pivot player. He's more so someone who needs freedom to go forward. And Henderson as well, the experience is a huge thing. The leadership's a huge thing. Them things together, I think all of that makes up for his maybe lack of ability in terms of he's not going to play a killer pass or he's not exciting. I think those attributes make it so that I get why he starts.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
I'd agree.
You play your best players, man. And at the end of the day, Declan Rice, Jordan Henderson, England's two best central midfield players. Like, Henderson, he does things which pisses me off when he overhits passes.
Yeah, he did start that Wales game quite suspect.
Yeah,
when he jumped, like he should have just jumped and chested it and it just went over his head.
I don't know what happens to him for England, man.
He started that game really poor.
But he does it for Liverpool sometimes.
He does it a bit for Liverpool, yeah, he does. But obviously, Callum Phillips ain't fit.
Henderson is a bit of a bozo. Like I'll be real.
100%.
Yeah, but again, nothing because he plays for Liverpool. We like to span at Liverpool. We overstated there.
Nah, true.
Henderson's done things in this game. I think. And also, it's funny with Henderson, we're all comfortable putting him in the team now. But like, if Southgate never changed his lineup, just played Rice, Phillips, and I said Henderson, like I was last Euros, I was saying Henderson plays centre mid. It's like, but you don't change your team. You don't change your team. It's like fans can only come to change when the change is actually made.
It does depend on how the other two are playing.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, I was going to interject and say, if Phillips was fit, I also wouldn't be adverse to Rice and Phillips either.
I would actually go for Rice and Phillips.
Yeah, if Phillips was fit, I probably
because Phillips had good performances for England.
And I think Phillips is better on the ball than what Henderson is as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 10, you had Mount.
I wasn't being serious. I was at USA game.
You can have Mount.
Bro, listen, I can understand why people would want Mount and why people would like Mount. Yeah. I personally wouldn't. I would go It's difficult, man, because I'd love to play Maddison there.
Yeah, I would go Maddison if it was healthy.
Do you know what? Fuck it, bruv. I'm going Maddison as the 10. And I don't care if he's not played games.
So, I mean, what you would do, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if he hasn't played games. I think this is the perfect game.
It is the game to
bring him in. If he's dead, take him off after 55 minutes, bro. We've got better attacking players.
If he don't play against Senegal a minute, he should not play another minute of the tournament.
Yeah, because
what a waste.
You're not going to chuck him in against France, are you?
Exactly. So it's just a waste. So Southgate, it's one of those where now's the time. And you should have done it against Wales.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. I like Foden, and Foden's probably the most talented player in the squad in terms of first touch and everything. But for England, it's not fireworks like it is for City. He played all right last game. I don't think he did enough necessarily for us to be like he has to start next game. Rashford, I think, probably gets the nod at left wing for me. Right? I hear you're not too sure on that.
And
I do hear it.
I just think Southgate, it depends what I don't know what podcast I was watching, but someone said it actually very much does depend on what Southgate has actually told Sterling. As he told him, all right, I'm going to bench you for this game or something and let Rashford and the other guys have a run or something like that.
Yeah.
Or is it a case of, because if that is the case, then it's pretty much, well, I should be starting against Senegal then, because you can't just do that. But if he's benched him for footballing reasons on the back of the 6-2, then it's actually a very weird decision Southgate's made.
I think either way, I get that point, right? And Southgate, you're right. Southgate is that type of guy who will have that type of loyalty. But if that's me, and I've said that to Sterling, and Rashford scored 2 goals, I'm going back to Sterling. I'm saying, sorry, bro, he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, did you watch the game?
Did you watch the game? He scored 2 goals. I can't drop him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and goals make the difference.
And it is momentum. It's just momentum.
And he's had a silently fantastic season for United as well. He's dug United out of some holes at times. He's won them points. I think he's a player who needs love. He needs to be loved, and I feel like he had a bit under Ollie where he was loved, and then obviously he's injured. He came back, and then Ronaldo was there, and Cavani was there, and Greenwood was kind of doing his thing as well. So Rashford kind of had that sort of back against the wall thing, and then he had the off the field stuff as well that he was doing, which was really positive in terms of off the field. But I feel like now he's locked in. He was hitting the gym a lot in pre-season. He looks like he's fitter, stronger, more physical now. I think mentally he's there, and I think Ten Hag's shown him that love, and now he's got that confidence. And I think when a player's confident, especially a player who is that good when they are good, I think you've got to play him, man.
Yeah, I just think, you need goals in these games. We're not going to ball out, So at the end of the day, look at Rashford, he can shoot.
Scores all types of goals.
Sterling can't really shoot.
Yeah, he scores all types of goals. I did headers to his game this year as well.
Yeah.
He's just
if I see Rashford lined up, I'm not
for
gonna
me,
moan about it.
He's got the momentum now.
Same way, if Sterling does line up, I ain't gonna moan about it because of the Euros. And
I won't moan until after the game.
Trust. Yeah. It depends what happens.
Yeah, for front three, we talked about this in group chat last night.
Yeah, for about 45 minutes when I was trying to sleep, bro.
Big. Oh, you're keeping me up, bro.
I went downstairs to go get water and looked in the group chat. I said, "There's so many messages right now. You two going off." I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm just gonna say this one point.
Yeah, it was one of them like
Rashford played on the right a little bit.
It was one of them like passive aggressive ones where there's love there, but you're like still trying to be a twat to each other just to make a point.
Look, my front three, it's not gonna happen. I'll go Rashford, Sterling, and Kane.
Rashford, Sterling, Kane.
Here's why.
Sterling on right.
Kane's just going to play.
Sterling on the right.
Sterling on the right. Kane's just going to play in it. He's just going to play. So I can't do much about that. I've already said that I'm a bit sus on Kane at the moment, but yeah.
You're dropping your boy Saka?
Yeah, I'm dropping Saka, man.
Oh.
I'm dropping Saka because I watch Saka every game. I watch the most Saka here, and I know...
Love Saka, man.
Saka's a baller. But if Kane's going to come deep, you need, like Liverpool have, you got Mane and Salah, like they used to have. Just need 2 guys who are going to get in and score, man. 2 biggest goal threats we have other than Kane are Sterling and Rashford. Yeah. Only 2 players have 20-goal seasons.
Can I interject with a point I didn't think of last night? That's just literally come to my head now.
Okay, go on.
So obviously Real Madrid won the league last year. Benzema drops as deep as Kane does. He's quicker and more agile, so he makes up the ground quicker. But they had Vinicius who had loads of pace, but they had Asensio or Rodrigo on the other side who aren't blistering pace.
Every single round.
Yeah.
And they just got it done, though.
Yeah, but that's knockout football. Like,
it is.
Vinicius, right? No, I'm sorry. That Real Madrid point is quite irrelevant, to be fair, because it's not like they have anyone in reserve who's gonna.
I do think though, if Maddison, like if we say R11, if Maddison did play, I don't think Kane drops as deep.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Like, I don't think he needs to.
Like, that's just the. If we're just being real, that's the most potent three we got.
I'd agree.
I understand
those are the
that.
three men you trust the most to create something and just score.
There's also
like Saka wasn't good against USA, man.
He wasn't, but I don't think anyone was. And I also have the problem I have with that front three is right. I can Sterling and Rashford are very, very similar players in terms of both of them thrive when they have both of them thrive when they have as minimal touches of the ball as possible.
Yeah.
Right? And both of them thrive in and around the box.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have them two guys doing the same thing, right? Neither of them are really creative.
If you have them doing the same thing and they're doing it successfully, then it's very creative and you're getting a lot of goals. At the end of the day,
I think if we were a team that pressed high and were high octane, I'd understand that.
But what does that change?
Well, you can win the ball high up the pitch, and then they have less touches of the ball. But if we're going to play against Senegal, they're going to be compact and then also press us and stuff like that. Rashford and Sterling aren't press resistant. They're not great on the ball. They're not someone who's going to do little interchanging, little 1-2s, drops off, stuff like that. I just think it's going to get congested and it's going to make the game so stinky. In terms of the flow of the passing.
I don't know, man. Sterling, as I said yesterday, Sterling's first season, Guardiola, second season when they won 100 points, he was right wing. So he can play the right wing role. And he can dribble. Like,
not as much anymore. He's lost that. With Sterling, even though he's only like 27, 28, it feels like he's 32, 33.
Nah, he's definitely...
the Chelsea move has not worked out
but even
well.
At City last year, he was like... I've watched him and he was... even when he was scoring goals like he was a poacher. He wasn't like he was dribbling and getting into the box and stuff like that. They had Bernardo and people like that doing those types of things, and Mahrez. Yeah. And in the big games, Pep dropped him. Pep didn't play him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't play him. I just think, right, in terms of tournament football, you just need to find the easiest way to score goals. Having bare touches on the right wing, is basically... All right, Saka's way of actually scoring goals, creating goals is a bit different, but his way of actually scoring goals, it's very hard. Hence why he doesn't really get many goals a season, because his thing is it's less direct than a Sterling or a Rashford. Sterling and Rashford, they're just better at getting in 1-2, boom, I'm in on goal. Sterling's not the best finisher. Go on.
What about Foden on the right?
Yeah,
and Rashford on the left, because I feel like Foden's got the balance of both, where he isn't like a direct outlet like Rashford and Sterling are, and he's not like a direct sort of 1v1 dribbler like Saka is. He's kind of like a mix between but we've seen him do both roles for City.
Yeah, and he pulls the trigger every now and then.
Yeah,
he does actually go for it,
and he'll attack the box as well.
And he strikes it a lot better than what Sterling would.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't even be mad if Saka started. To be fair, man. But
I would think I'd be happy with any. I think they're all quality players. I think I would be happy with any of them. I think Sterling scored with the ball at his feet, got the penalty, against Denmark in the Euros. Getting fouled when two players collide, got through the middle of them. He has got the ability to get 100%. With the ball at his feet to get into the box and then pretty much put his body anywhere and get a foul, or get it over into the middle for Kane. So I think all of them have something different, but it's whatever he goes over. I don't think I'll be too mad at it.
I wouldn't be mad if he played Rashford, Sterling and Kane. It wouldn't be what I would do. I don't think it's optimal in terms of the balance of the side, as you said I was waffling about last night. But I get your thinking behind it. But for me, I just don't understand. The dynamic of the forward line against a team that's going to sit back against. I don't see how that works.
Yeah. All right,
I hope he plays it for like 40 minutes just to see what it's saying, bro.
I don't know. I think that's.
I want to know the answer. I want to see it for 45 minutes, see what happens.
It's only one player different. To be fair, we're talking about. It's not like
I would go Rashford, Kane, Saka. I think.